Not me being on time. Hold on, y'all. Let me just make sure I get to see everyone's messages. Let me get set up here. I did post the call and link for members exclusively on the post tab here on YouTube. So be sure to check that out if you want to call in and share your thoughts on day one of the Diddy trial. All right. Let me just enter here. This is a different, hold on, take that camera off. I don't need that camera on. Let's record this because I will be posting the audio to our podcast. I just uploaded the audio to the video that I did earlier, giving you a full breakdown of what played out in court today with Diddy. First of all, can you guys hear me, see me, all that good stuff? Amy, I see you backstage. I see Cynthia backstage. I will be taking callers in just a second. I just want to remind people some of what played out. I also saw a lot of people, because let's first talk about the people that attended this Diddy trial. But before we do that, let me give people a moment. Let me get the notifications out. So I'm going to vamp just a little bit. Mama Alec, we can just do it, just a time marker. You don't necessarily have to do timestamps for the entire live. Time marker for when we begin talking about the Diddy trial, and then when we take callers, if we could just do that. And I'm not going to talk about anything else. I ain't going to talk about Nene and that Tamar interview. I will talk about that on another day once the interview airs. This is just going to be about day one of the Diddy trial. Okay, first off, where is everyone watching from before we get into the Diddy trial of it all? Let's give people a moment to get in. And of course, shout out to the replay crew as well. I am going to read something from CNN because they have an article that they just posted saying the 9 takeaways from day one of testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. The DMV's in the house. Norway, what's going on? New York City, Orlando, Houston. Hey, Allie. We got a couple of Allies in here. Connecticut, Orlando. Do I need to come to Orlando? I see a lot of Orlando in here. Thank you so much, K Shorty, for the super thanks. You probably posted that on one of the videos. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you guys so much for all the birthday wishes, the DMV. DMV, do you guys want me to come back, like, soon? Do you guys want me to come back soon, DMV? Even though Potomac is filming and we're not. Okay, look. Chioma says yes. Canada's in the building. North Dakota. Yes, come to Orlando. Okay, let me see what I can do. Yeah, yes, come to Orlando. Okay, Orlando. Do we have more? I need to do some real focus groups in regards to Florida. Do I have more followers in Miami versus followers in Orlando? I gotta double check. And then you guys will say do both. Stephanie says, yes. Amy says, yes. You need to come to Chicago first. Allie, maybe on Club Kempire, I will talk about Chicago and what happened in regards to Chicago and why I'm still not there. And it's nothing to do with you guys. But you guys don't, y'all, I know y'all love me. Doesn't mean the world loves me. Or believes in me. So I'm going to talk about that on Club Kempire this week. I need to write that down. All right, not set me free. Just wanted to wish you a happy belated birthday. Thank you so much, Lee B. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Thank you. Still waiting on Toronto. Me too, Jules. It's not that I don't want to come. It's a lot to, try to do stuff. Do I need to hook you up with some bookings? Yes, Allie. If you can help, DM me on Instagram. Because some of these people are like, I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, Kirby. I always like that name, Kirby. Especially with a K. All right, let's talk about day one of the Diddy trial. Again, I did a separate video breaking down everything that played out in today's trial. I asked you guys in the comment section, do you want me to do a daily update? I can't promise that I'll be able to do a daily update just because I have other things to do. Like, I have other obligations. It's also my birthday month. It's also my birthday week. So I can't promise. This trial is going to be going on until July 4th. This is going to be a long trial, but at the same time, it's going to go very quickly. And already they're reporting that Cassie was possibly going to testify today. She ended up not testifying. However, we saw her husband, Alex Fine, at the courthouse. So it looks as if they were preparing. Cassie is 8 months pregnant. Let's talk about Cassie before I get to everything else. I already see people in the comment section that weren't even in court. They're just hearing little bits and pieces. Today, you probably saw the story where one of the male S workers claimed that Diddy wanted him to relieve himself in Cassie's mouth. And I saw so many comments in the comment section when it comes to Cassie. They're like, I don't care what anyone says. She was a consenting adult and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, it frustrates me so much because it's the same people. The same people. And when I say the same people, I'm not talking about literally. Happy birthday, L. Singleton. I'm like, did you guys even read? They probably never even read her lawsuit. Because her lawsuit really was very detailed in what she went through. And even the other day, I posted a comment on one of the blogs, and I was like, because we already know the angle that Diddy's team is doing is that it was consensual, it was mutual abuse on both sides. And I was like, the power dynamics in regards to Cassie and Diddy are very different. She was 19 years old. These folks were like, well, 19's legal. Also, I guess you guys also agree with Shannon Sharp. Okay. But I don't care the fact that 19 is legal. We're not talking about the sexual aspect of their relationship or only the sexual aspect of their relationship. We're talking about the power dynamics. He was also her boss. He also allegedly wooed her away from Ryan Leslie, who originally discovered her and was dating her. Okay? Oh, your birthday's tomorrow. Happy early birthday. Along with Miss Quad. Oh, Lord. Okay, sorry. Happy birthday. He wooed her away. He groomed Cassie. For lack of a better word, Diddy groomed Cassie. And I hate the fact that people continue to say I don't know if maybe they're jealous the fact that she was able to sue him, get her settlement, and now still also get justice. Maybe people are mad at that they didn't get $30 million. But okay. I don't get the Cassie hate, but it's ridiculous. And I would hate for anyone else that's in this comment section, not ours, but in the comment section of social media, to ever go through what Cassie went through. Because no matter if Diddy had these consensual relationships and these accusations are true or not true, what we do know and what what his defense team is angling towards, it was more of a domestic violence situation and not trafficking. And at the end of the day, legally, I'm not an attorney, but we will have allegedly Stephanie here at the end of the week to unpack everything that played out this week. When we think about how they're trying to angle this, regardless, I mean, the legal team has to do what they have to do. They have to prove that he didn't do what the charges say. But they're angling but this still was a DV situation. So for the people that are on social media still defending it was consensual, you see his attorneys are angling that it was consensual, but also said that it was a domestic violent relationship with a man that basically groomed her when she was 19 years old. Again, I don't argue with people on social media. I don't get into any of that, but sometimes when I see the comment section, I was just like, but then I look at our government, I said, why did I come back in this life? Why did I come back? I'm just like, I just feel like I'm in the twilight zone right now. But again, I understand some people are speaking from their own trauma. Some of these people have been literally in the same situation that Cassie was in, and they didn't make it out necessarily, and maybe they're still in that situation, so they feel no pity, or maybe this is how they react to trauma. I don't know. I think it's sickening. Anyway, so I've seen a lot of that. So Cassie allegedly was, presumably supposed to testify today. She ended up not testifying. I'm thinking she will end up testifying tomorrow. However, I do want to remind you, I did a separate video talking about a lot of what played out. The other thing, in regards to Cassie wasn't there, but her husband was there. Cassie's 8 months pregnant. Very pregnant. So can you imagine if you've ever been pregnant? I've never been pregnant, but I've heard stories. You're 8 months pregnant. You've been in what you described as a triggering, abusive relationship. Now you are brave enough. Come on, some of y'all don't even got the cojones that Cassie has. You are brave enough to confront the man that tortured you, according to you. I gotta say that for legal reasons. Tortured you for nearly a decade. And you're 8 months pregnant. I'm sure after having the two babies, she's developed a strength like no other. When you become a mother, it's a different situation. But can you imagine what she described? I think if you didn't read that lawsuit, then you probably have no idea. It had a trigger warning on it. I remember reading that in the airport. Was I going on a birthday trip? I probably was. I can't remember. When did that lawsuit? No, that came out in November, right? So where was I going? It doesn't matter. But I read it in the airport. Can you imagine? 8 months pregnant. Went through what she went through for 10 years. All kinds of bruises and trauma and everything, both the mental and the physical. Now you're going to get on the stand and confront your abuser. And God only knows, and I feel for her because God only knows what kind of facial reactions that Diddy will make that will trigger her. And you already know the defense team, they have to do their job. So they're going to really try and paint Cassie out to be a terrible person. I agree, Sean. Each says, Cassie, we are praying for you. I can't imagine 8 months pregnant, and she is brave enough to relive all of this under oath. Under oath. So Cassie will more than likely testify this week. As I said before, they thought that she might take the stand today. However, they had one of the security guards that were present at during the 2016 incident in the elevator bank where Diddy dragged and kicked Cassie. The jurors, they selected 12 jurors and 6 alternates. The jurors ended up seeing the footage today. And remember, I did a separate video the other day where Lauren LaRosa from The Breakfast Club said they are keeping that in their back pocket. Day one, the prosecution, Southern District of New York, came out swinging. They showed that video. Day one. So they interviewed the security guard that was present. The security guard described what that day looked like for him, his experience with Diddy, what he witnessed, and what he took as Diddy offering him a bribe. Another person that testified, mind you, this is day one. This is day one of this trial. And this is supposed to go on until July 4th. So they had one of the male S workers testify as well. So there were a lot of interesting things that were shared in day one in regards to the testimony, especially from the male S worker. When the male S worker got into the descriptions of what Cassie and Diddy and he would do, the use of baby oil and the way that Diddy would speak to them. He also shared how much Diddy paid him. He also shared witnessing and hearing Diddy be physically violent with Cassie. Sidebar, I get it. The lawyers have to play this case. They have to get Diddy off of the charges he's being charged. He hasn't been charged with domestic violence. I watched a documentary, and I talked about this. I can't remember the documentary. It was on Netflix. I can't think of the name right now. But what I got from that documentary is how this legal system here in the United States does not protect people that are involved in domestic violence situations. And when you see when the legal system drops the ball on those DV situations, how it perpetuates things to go in a terrible place, meaning people lose their lives. So I get it. What they're fighting here has nothing to do with DV. So they're trying to play like it was a mutually domestic violent relationship between Cassie and Diddy. I also have to remind you, the Southern District of New York has a 98% winning streak. I also have to remind you, Diddy was offered a plea deal, which he denied. He's facing life in prison. But again, the Southern District of New York has to prove their case in order to win. No matter how we feel about Diddy, they have to present a strong case in order to move those jurors based off of those facts, not DV. So that's important for us, the public, to keep in mind. Yes. So he's admitting to being physically violent with her. Why isn't he going to jail? Because those are not the charges. We have to keep that in mind. Those are not the charges. Either way, if Diddy does get out or get off, in 2025, look, anything is possible. He has hundreds of lawsuits, civil lawsuits, that he has to also deal with. So along with the people that attended, so based on what I've seen and all my research, I'm not going out there. I'm not going to be in the streets getting interviews. So I'm just telling y'all that, and no shade to anyone that is. Thank you for your service, please, and thank you. But I'm not doing it because it already looks like a madhouse between bloggers, reporters, fans, just camera people. It's a madhouse over there, okay? But shout out to the people that are getting us the reports of what's going on inside, outside, all of that. Why did I see... Okay, so a couple of things before I get to the Jaguar Wright of it all. A couple of things. The other people that attended, Diddy's daughters, his twin daughters, Chance, Christian, Justin, even Quincy. I did a weekend update. If you missed it, this is why I don't post everything here on YouTube. My weekend update, I talked about Albie Shore and his interview in his new book and what he had to say. And I said, I wonder how this is affecting his relationship with Quincy. Quincy showed up in court today. But as soon as I saw his daughters, his young daughters, his daughters are only 19, Chances, and the twins are 18. Yes, legal. However, why would you want your daughters hearing? Because we already know in court, and Janice Combs was there as well with the wig. Lord. 84-year-old woman. Why would you want your daughters to hear any of this? Your abusive relationship to women. Your sexcapades. These wrong, like, no judgments, but why would you want your kids? Like, we don't want to know anything about our parents' situation. His daughters ended up leaving early because of the salaciousness of what the male S worker was sharing in his testimony. I also understand from a legal standpoint and for the jury, it's important to show a solid familial front. It's important to show the jury that his kids need him. His kids miss him. Page 6 reported, a jury expert said, because Diddy looks so old and gray, that might work in his benefit, subconsciously affecting the jury. Fine. All of that, I understand that. I still would not subject my children. If I love them and do not want them traumatized, do not come to court. First of all, beyond hearing what you're hearing in court, but then being harassed outside the court. Why would you want to subject them to that? You know who also showed up? Thank you so much, Mrs. Dash, for being a member for 25 months. Mrs. Dash, is so true. You never know what a jury will do. I work in state criminal court, and you would be amazed. See? And again, it's not about how we feel as a court of public opinion. It's about the lawyers proving their case. So the Southern District of New York has to have a solid case, but a lot of times they don't go forward unless they know they can win. So I don't understand why Diddy's daughters were there. But did y'all know? You know Diddy has a young daughter, Love. Love's mother was in the house. Misa Hilton, who's suing Mary J. Blige, was in the house. And reportedly, Misa had a abusive relationship with Diddy too. And didn't when Cassie came out with her lawsuit, Misa showed support for Cassie? So I found it interesting, and maybe she's just there to support Justin. But I was just like, that's interesting. Yes, he has he's added some new attorneys, including Young Thug's attorney. I mean, Young Thug's attorney, what? I mean, he didn't win that case, but he did get off. No, he didn't get off. He's on parole, but you get what I'm saying. He's not in jail anymore, but he spent some time in jail. Kifa says that Misa got a check. Probably to help her fight this damn Stockholm Syndrome, Bess. And when I did the report on Misa and Mary J. Blige's lawsuit, the $5 million lawsuit, if you missed it, go check that video, y'all. One of the things I said, and some of you were agreeing with me in the comment section, was that with Diddy in jail, he sort of was the glue with a lot of people in this industry, and maybe that's what's causing some of this rift that's happening with some of the people that were connected to him. I was like, well, you never know. You never know. So, okay, so Misa Hilton was there. Love Combs' baby's mother was there. There were quite a few people there. I also heard Little Rod, Little Rod who filed that lawsuit against Diddy. He was in court today. I was like, this is a circus. It's turning into a circus. And I officially said it turned into a circus when I saw video footage of Jaguar Wright. Lord have mercy. Jaguar Wright showed up to court today, and I was shocked when I saw her. And what's even more shocking is seeing Jaguar turn off. Hold on, let me pause. How she sort of turns off the personality, like from one personality to another personality. And I was just like, So Jaguar Wright was outside the court today doing interviews and covering for her channel. And Jaguar is an interesting personality. If you've been here before, you already know how I feel about the Jaguar Wright of it all. TA says, is she reporting? She is reporting live from the scene. So, Brian McKnight, if you were trying to serve her, sorry. Why did Jaguar show up with 3 security guards? I mean, I understand why she showed up with 3 security guards. How is she paying for that? How is she paying for that? All right, so this video is from Armand Wiggins, who's also been out there covering this story. And he saw Jaguar, and he got this video footage. So I'm going to play the audio for you guys. All right? And if you're a member of the channel, I did drop the call-in link on the community tab, the post tab, for those that want to call in and share their thoughts. I've just started to share my initial thoughts and some updates and things like that as well. All right, so let me play this audio for you in regards to Jaguar outside the courtroom. This video, as we always do, cite our sources. Armand Wiggins caught up with her outside.
Jaguar right after the case. They said you're supposed to be in this motherfucker.
I'm up in this motherfucker.
You here? Wow, they done brought everybody. How are you?
The Jaguar Wright Show. Here we
Okay,
are.
oh, you got district security too? Oh, wow.
She got 3 black brothers surrounding her. I mean, I think that's actually smart, but how is she paying for this?
Wow, Jaguar came with security too.
ABC News then pulls Jaguar to the side and asks her for an interview. Jaguar's energy completely changes.
Nice to meet you. Just first and foremost, I mean, this is, the day of this trial. What are you feeling when you're experiencing right now? How important is it for you to do?
Paramount. There needs to be someone here who's been here all along.
There needs to be someone here that's been here all along.
I've been waiting for this moment for 5 years, and here we are. And I'm praying that everyone remembers there are survivors, real life survivors. And I hope that everyone takes into account how necessary a true verdict, a just verdict now, 25 years of pain.
I have to pause this because there are multiple cameras surrounding her now. ABC News is interviewing Jaguar Wright, and there are multiple cameras trying to capture this moment.
25 years of hurt. And I'm praying that God's just going to do what he told me he's going to do. So I hope we're all just saying in vigilant prayer for everyone on all sides of this. These are human issues, and we need to have real human response and emotion.
Do you plan to be here every day? I mean, during the trial, we're expected to be around.
I'm going to be around.
So Jaguar says that she's going to be around every day, Jaguar, until July 4th?
Have you spoken with anyone who might be possibly testifying, or have you spoken with anybody?
That I cannot say. But what I will say is my prayers for I'll Be Sure are being answered day by day. From the moment that we found out he flatlined to the moment we found out he came back. I'm here vigilant.
So that's what she said. You can see the full video of her interview with ABC News. Lord have mercy. What else did she say in this video? Let me see.
It's mixed emotion. This case that happened in the R. Kelly case. Because if that had been properly addressed, this would have been addressed back then. These people have been working together all in cahoots for all of this time. And it needs to all be addressed. I'm glad it's not just me anymore. I'm glad it's someone else. I'm glad there are other people who need to be heard. I'll Be Sure. I'm glad they're hearing him, Cassie. I'm glad they're hearing her, Kim Porter, through I'll Be Sure. I'm glad, Natanya Rubin, I'm glad. All of these things. So yeah, it's mixed emotions, but I just know when you pray for something and God answers it, you should be happy.
When you pray for something, you should be happy. If you're new here, I've shared my thoughts on Jaguar Wright. Do I think she knows some things? Yes. Do I think I believe everything she says? No. But I also think Jaguar, very talented singer. However, exactly, we do not claim Jaguar. Y'all could take her if y'all want to take her in your sign. She is a Taurus, though. Lord. But I also think she gets fed off of this attention. Okay? And that's what bothers me. I don't feel like she's truly 100% concerned about the real victims in this situation, to be honest. Let me see if there's any more footage that I can share of Jaguar outside the court. Honestly, when I did my original video, I did not even see that Jaguar was there. It was afterwards that I was like, oh my God, Jaguar's outside too? I was like, oh Lord. It's like, here we are. Here we are. Let me see. Okay, so that's that footage. Yeah, I don't see anything new from Jaguar in regards to this. I'm going to continue to follow this though. So I'll keep you guys posted on any more of that. But I wanted to mention the fact that Jaguar is here in New York. She's covering this for her channel, but she is doing interviews outside. I don't know if she's inside the case. Jazz says hopefully she's an April Taurus. Let's look that up just so that we know. And then I'm going to get into some callers because I'm not going to be here. I also thank you to all of you that are concerned about my well-being in covering this case. Damn it, she's May 17th. Oh, damn. Damn it. Priscilla says, unfortunately, May 17th. Lord have mercy. And yes, I'm still celebrating my birthday this week. Excuse me, Ultraviolet. It says Tauruses are the worst. You can never reason with that. No, who deleted that? Oh, wait, you retracted it, Ultraviolet, because you know we were going to fight? You know we were going to fight? It's all right. I can take look, I know I'm perfect. You don't need to tell me I'm perfect or not perfect. I know I'm perfect. So screw you. All right, let me get into this before we get to the callers, because I do want to mention what CNN wrote in regards to 9 takeaways from day 1 of testimony in Sean Diddy Combs. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. I will be covering this. I can't promise that I'll cover it every single day, even though a lot of you said it in the last video I posted earlier today, where I gave you a full breakdown of what happened, that you wanted me to cover this daily. We shall see. We shall see what I can keep up with, okay? But I'm going to try. I'm going to try my best. That means I can't stay on here long and too late, okay? All right, so this is what CNN wrote earlier. They said coercion or consent. That is the central question posed to a federal jury Monday on the first day of testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs racketeering and trafficking trial in New York City. The criminal trial represents a dramatic fall from grace for Combs, who's 55, who founded the record label Bad Boy in 1993 and launched an illustrious musical career under the stage names Puff Daddy and Diddy. He has earned 3 Grammy wins and 14 nominations, and he successfully expanded from rapper into cultural icon with forays into fashion, alcohol sales, reality TV, and acting. He faced a series of civil lawsuits alleging serious wrongdoing prior to September's arrest on on charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking, and has been behind bars since. Combs has pled not guilty to 5 counts, including 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of trafficking, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. That's what I'm going to call it. If convicted, he could face a sentence of up to life in prison. Combs' trial will not be televised per the rules of federal court. CNN, though, will have reporting from journalists inside and outside the court. And so will Kempire. All right. Osman says, free daddy. Okay. So here's some key takeaways from day 1 of the trial. So the prosecution highlights 2 main accusers. The prosecution's case will focus on 2 accusers, Cassie Ventura and a woman identified as Jane, according to the Assistant U.S. Attorney, Emily Johnson, who opened today's case with her opening statements. Combs coerced 2 women into freak-offs that would last days and took place across the country, Johnson said. Combs' staff organized the travel and his businesses paid the expenses in what prosecutors described as a criminal enterprise. Ventura first met Combs in 2006 when she was a 19-year-old model and aspiring singer with the hit song. He was 17 years older than her. They began dating within a year of him signing her to his label Bad Boy, and they dated off and on until 2018. I'm thinking that they never stopped dating. I think maybe there were times apart, but I don't think his control over her ever stopped. Prosecutors said that he repeatedly physically abused her. In 2009, he threw her to the floor in an SUV and stomped repeatedly on her face, Johnson said. In another instance, when Combs learned Ventura was seeing another man, he beat her, brutally kicking her in the back and flinging her around like a rag doll, Johnson said, the prosecutor. He beat her for small slights, such as when she didn't answer the phone or when she took too long in the bathroom, Johnson said. Further, Johnson described one incident in which Combs allegedly made a male worker relieve himself in her mouth, making her feel like she was choking. If Cassie didn't do what the defendant wanted, the consequences were severe, she said. Combs used his power and control over her to do his bidding in those dark hotel rooms, prosecutors said. The other main accuser, known as Jane, began dating Combs in 2020. So this is more recent. He promised that if they did freak-offs, they would spend quality time together, but it was a lie, Johnson said. Instead, he allegedly forced her to do drugs and stay awake for days at a time. Less than a year ago, Combs and Jane had a physical fight at her home. She tried to run out the front door, but he grabbed her in a chokehold, lifted her by the neck, and kicked her to the ground, Johnson said. Later that night, he forced her into a freak-off, she said. A third woman, an employee who was allegedly SA'd by Combs, is also expected to testify. Prosecutors said that they plan to show the jury video of the freak-offs. See, that's the other thing. On those days when they show the freak-off tapes, those kids, all of them, need to get out of there. Prosecutors said that they plan to show the jury video of the freak-offs Combs for days-long drug-fueled sexual performances. Combs allegedly used threats, violence, drugs, and lies to coerce women into participating in these freak-offs, also known, if you saw the recent documentary on Max, Wild King Nights and Hotel Nights. And they filmed these to use as blackmail, according to prosecution. In contrast, the defense said that the freak-offs were between consenting adults acting of their own free will. Both sides made the case that the videos would prove their point. You will see them put on a performance high on ecstasy while they pretend to enjoy themselves, because that's what the defendant said that he wanted, Johnson said for the prosecution. The defense said the videos may be hard to watch, but are a strong evidence that the freak-offs were consensual and not based on coercion, said Tenny Garagos, Combs' defense attorney. So both sides agree that Combs committed DV. So this is what I was talking about earlier. The prosecution said that Monday Combs had committed DV against past romantic partners. His defense agreed. Garagos, the defense attorney, acknowledged some of the prosecution's unflattering allegations against Combs. He had a temper, got violent when he drank alcohol or used drugs, and committed DV. However, that did not mean that he was guilty of racketeering or trafficking, she said. To be a defense attorney, like, oh my gosh. Had he been charged with DV or assault, we would not be here right now. This is what his defense attorney said. In particular, she brought up the 2016 hotel surveillance video showing him beating Ventura, first published by CNN, and said that violence on display was indefensible, horrible, and dehumanizing. It is not evidence of trafficking, Garagos said. It is evidence of DV. He will be responsible, he will be accountable for the things he did, but we will fight for his freedom for the things he did not do. Sidebar. I know originally when we first started covering this story, they were reporting that Diddy was going to take the stand. And normally, in a case like this, the defendant would not take the stand. I wonder if that's still the case. Okay. So the defense questions the accuser's motives. As is typical in a trial involving allegations of SA, Combs' defense said that they plan to question the motives of the accusers in the trial. Sean Combs is a complicated man, but this is not a complicated case, Garagos said. This case is about love, jealousy, infidelity, and money. She asked the jury to look into what accusers had received and encouraged the panel to examine how jealousy influenced everyone's actions. Some of the accusers, including Ventura, went to a civil lawyer for a money grab instead of going to law enforcement, Garagos said. Everybody who testifies has a motive, she said. So they also talk about the video of the hotel attack in central evidence. So just when we thought they were kind of keeping the 2016 hallway hotel incident as their back pocket weapon, no. Day one, they came out with that, and they showed the jury. With the prosecution's first witness on the stand, the jury was shown surveillance video of Combs beating and kicking Ventura in a California hotel in 2016. Israel Flores, who worked as a security guard at the former Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles at the time, testified about his interactions with Combs and Ventura in the minutes after the incident. He said Combs attempted to bribe him with a wad of cash for his silence. Ventura had a purple eye, Flores testified, and kept saying, "I want to leave, I just want to leave." Under cross-examination, though, defense attorney Brian Steele questioned Flores about why several details in his testimony were not included in the written incident report he filed at the time. For example, the report did not include anything about Ventura having a discolored eye and did not mention Combs had a devilish look on his face, Steele said. CNN first published the surveillance video of the same incident last year, and days afterwards, Combs apologized for his actions in pretrial hearings. The defense... Let me turn off my notifications, y'all, because people are texting me. Sorry, y'all. In pretrial hearings, the defense unsuccessfully attempted to keep the jury from seeing the video. The video is key to the prosecution's underlying argument that Combs used force to coerce his victims, said legal analyst Misty Maris. It's part of a bigger narrative for the prosecution that Combs, in any instance, to get individuals to comply in his criminal enterprise and with the conduct at the freak-offs, that he used violence to do so. And another point, they said, man who said that he was paid for sex testifies Combs assaulted Ventura twice. The second witness, 41-year-old Daniel Phillip, said that he was paid thousands of dollars on multiple occasions between 2012 and 2014 to have relations with both Cassie while Diddy watched and pleasured himself in a corner. Philip testified that the hip-hop mogul assaulted Ventura on 2 separate occasions when he was with the couple. In one incident, Ventura was on the computer when Combs shouted at her to come here. Philip testified when she responded to her personal information was that her personal information was up on the computer. Combs approached her and started dragging her by the hair into the bedroom. He testified Ventura was screaming repeatedly, saying, "I'm sorry," while he heard what sounded like Combs slapping her. Philip testified that he heard Combs saying, "B, when I tell you to come here, you come. Not now, not later." On another occasion at a hotel, Philip testified that he heard Ventura yelling, I'm sorry," and could hear again what sounded like she was being slapped or someone was being slapped around and slapped around the room. Combs walked out of the room and Ventura jumped into Philip's lap, shaking like she was terrified. Again, they're saying that Cassie is set to testify this week, probably tomorrow. On cross-examination, Philip said that Ventura appeared to enjoy herself and was sexually aroused during their first encounter. His cross-examination will continue tomorrow. Testimony begins with explicit and graphic descriptions. Take note, the trial will be graphic and disturbing, CNN writes. In just the first day of testimony, the jury has already heard explicit descriptions of freak-offs, threesomes, other things. I'm not going to even go through any of that. Copious amounts of baby oil. Mind you, Diddy's daughters are in court hearing this. Yes, they ended up leaving early during the testimony of Danielle Phillip. They said the jury saw and heard evidence of physical violence too, including videos of Combs beating Ventura and descriptions of her being assaulted from each of the first 2 witnesses. My thing is also, yes, how do you look at your father the same? Like you did this to someone. During a portion of graphic testimony, and how do you have this relationship with these individuals and not think that he did this to Kim Porter, your mother, or any other woman? During a portion of graphic testimony, Combs' daughter stood up and left the courtroom. They returned for a brief period, but left again when the testimony continued in a graphic sexual nature. One of Combs' sons placed his arm around his grandmother during some of this testimony. Combs' family shows support. Combs walked into the courtroom Monday morning and greeted 2 rows of family and friends with a big smile and tapped to his chest, a thumbs up, and made a heart shape with his hands. At least 6 of his adult children sat in the second row behind him, his mother in between them. Combs' sister was also seated in the same row. Some of his children tapped their chests back to him and smiled. Combs also blew his mother a kiss. And if you've seen any reports on their interesting relationship, then you know that makes me cringe. The final jury is seated. Prior to opening statements, Monday's court proceedings began with final steps of selecting the jury, which we talked about last week. The court narrowed down hundreds of potential jurors into a group of 43 people qualified and willing to serve. Many of these potential jurors said that they'd seen some media coverage of the allegations and had seen the hotel surveillance footage of Combs beating Ventura. Even so, all of them pledged to listen to the evidence and remain unbiased. On Monday morning, attorneys for each side took turns executing preemptory strikes to narrow the pool to a panel of 12 jurors and 6 alternates. Prosecutors were granted 6 strikes, and Combs' defense team were granted 10 strikes for the main jury panel. Both sides had 3 strikes for the alternates. The jury panel of 12 is made up of 8 men and 4 women. That's interesting. The alternate group consists of 4 men and 2 women. The defense challenged some of the government's preemptory strikes over the suggestions of racial bias. I talked about this in a separate video earlier. The judge, however, denied the defense's challenge, saying the prosecution gave race-neutral reasons for their selections. So those were some of the standout moments. I just want to remind the callers some of that. If you are a member of the channel, I did drop the call-in link for you guys. Live chat, I will drop the call link for you guys as well. Keep liking the video. Can we get to 500 likes? Let me just go to the chat so that I can drop that here. Please hold. Hold on. So this is the call link, and I do not have my timer here, so please respect my time. I do not want to be here forever. I just want to hear what you guys have to say. So live chat, I'm going to drop the call-in link for you guys as well, and I'll pin it there. Okay. All right, let's take a look to see who's behind the scenes that wants to share their thoughts. All right, Cynthia's backstage. We'll bring Cynthia up first. Cynthia, what's going on?
Hi, Kempire. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, this trial is a lot, Kempire.
Already.
It's a lot. And you know what? I my quick background, I'm a psychiatric registered nurse, and I'm actually in school to get my master's to become a psychiatric nurse practitioner. And yeah, Diddy, you know what? I'm not a legal expert. I don't know how this trial is going to go. It's a toss-up.
Yeah.
I don't think that his daughter should have been there.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit too much. But I honestly commend Cassie for coming to court. I have 2 kids. Being pregnant at 8 months and testifying and reliving the torment that she went through, I honestly commend her. And I commend a lot of the, domestic, violence survivors, because a lot of people don't survive this. I've never experienced domestic violence. I'm Nigerian. I'm too aggressive. So.
Cynthia.
I'm too aggressive. I'm just telling the truth.
No.
But I'm just trying to make light of the situation. But anyways, it's a lot, and we'll keep unpacking, Kempire. I appreciate what you're doing.
Of course. Thank you for calling in.
Thanks, Kempire. I'll leave the studio.
Thanks. So, in regards to some of what we're seeing, again, like what Cynthia said in regards to Cassie testifying, 8 months pregnant, I might add, she's 8 months pregnant, and reliving all of this. And as Cynthia said, a lot of these individuals that are in these DV situations end up not surviving. Elle Singleton says, criminal law is not my area of practice, but when a defendant hires 8 attorneys, that speaks volumes. Yeah. All right, DM is backstage. We're going to bring DM next. DM, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. I have a few points, but
Sure.
How long do I have? So I could know which ones to not talk about.
Well, how many points do you have?
I have like 4.
Oh, no, okay, you can go through them.
Okay. So one is a question to whenever you have allegedly Stephanie on, because I've been working really hard, so I probably won't be able to get to that one.
Okay.
Is with the opening of them already showing the Cassie video, it seems like they may have bigger evidence against Diddy, but could they get him on conspiracy? Because or coercion, because there's definitely coercion from what I've read from everything that, I mean, I'm Cassie. Okay, I'm going to participate in these things with you because you're going to help with my career. Same thing with Jane, and that was just recently. And how much time he would spend on just that one. So that was one.
Okay.
2, bringing your daughters. Like, that is something so disgusting, knowing what they were going to open up with. He knows all the evidence. I felt like that was very disrespectful to his family.
I think he was prioritizing his freedom over that.
It looks good on paper, but it doesn't look good to your daughters. Now, you're going to have bigger conversations with your daughters that you probably don't want to have. And 3,
do you
I'm
not to interrupt you, DM, but do you think that a personality like Diddy is going to have that kind of conversation with his daughters? I think if he's treating Cassie this way, not to say that he's abusive to his daughters, but I can't imagine that he feels like he needs to explain himself to anyone.
Well, this is where I go into 3. As a child of domestic violence, where my dad did this to my mom.
Sorry.
He was perfect to me. He explained it. Well, this is what happened with her. You're too young, all that explanation. As a daughter of domestic violence, as a survivor of domestic violence, because there's been times my dad was doing things that were very similar to what Diddy did to Cassie, and I had to step in and try to help my mom out, So it's like, she's brave being pregnant doing that. And the fact that she was so young, because that's the same situation my mom was in, and the fact that she was so young and pregnant. Yeah. I don't think my mom ever had the strength my mom didn't leave the situation until we were all grown.
Really?
Yeah. And she suffered still. Like, wow. He still sends her very threatening things.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm old now. Like,
not old.
I'm in my 40s now, and he is still just like the epitome of disgust, because she never felt like a safe place. So I just wanted to, all those people that are like, oh, well, Cassie, she was an adult. She was a child. Yeah. It continues. And if we let this man free, it's going to continue.
That's the part of this story that I'm like, if Diddy gets out, like that's the aftermath of that. If he does get off in regards to this case, like the people that feel probably safe now are probably going to be very concerned if he gets out.
Oh yeah, and everybody that's testifying about him, strong people, because like my mom had to move to a whole different state, change her whole number, like everything to get away from my dad, and like he still will find a way.
Wow.
Like, because we're still entangled. Of course, she has kids with him, and I just pray for Cassie too. Yeah. At least she has a amazing husband, and she's
can you imagine your husband hearing that testimony today about the things that happened in their relationship? I'm sure he already is somewhat aware. I don't know if he's aware of everything. Wow.
And then
DM, wait, before you go, DM, L. Singleton had a question in the chat. She says, caller, was your dad ever arrested?
Yes, multiple times.
Oh, because of what he did to your mom?
Mm-hmm. Yes, multiple times.
And what happened with that?
But at a certain point, she stopped calling.
Because they did nothing.
He would be arrested for like 3 days, get bonded out, and then because they're married, there was no reason he couldn't come back to the family home.
Wow.
And my mom didn't have the strength to testify, so it would get dropped.
Wow. So sorry to hear that.
And they wouldn't take our testimony. We were kids. So we can't say, yeah, he's putting hands on my mother.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
And then my last point was, with the testimony from the S worker,
yeah,
who was willing to have 10 hours of S relations with and be recorded and directed for those 10 hours? I'm married. I don't want to do that for 10 hours. Even if I'm having a fun night. I mean, what Cassie has gone through is ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing, too. We have to remember, the S worker is talking about work and being paid $700 to $5,000 to $6,000 in order to do this. So for him, it's work.
Yeah, and then, but he also said that sometimes he wouldn't get paid.
So if you didn't perform, which I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, like 10 hours I'm performing and I can't even get paid. Like, that's not worth it for me. Like, I might get paid or might not. And then I have to hear him, allegedly abusing his partner after because she didn't want to perform. That is crazy.
Mrs. Dash says in drugs is also how they get through that.
Oh.
Between blocking out what you're going through and also the things to keep you, physically able to keep going like that.
Yeah. But that's all I have. Thank you, Kempire.
Thank you, DM, for sharing your story.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Take care. All right. We have Winter backstage. We're going to bring Winter up next. Guys, if you just joined us, don't forget to like the video. We're trying to get to 500 likes. We have over 1,000 of you watching here on YouTube. This is a YouTube exclusive. I will upload the audio exclusively to the Kempire podcast. If you're not subscribed there, you should, because not only am I uploading what we're talking about here, but I also share exclusive content like I did over the weekend in regards to your weekend update, in regards to some hot topics that maybe you've been waiting for me to talk about. But also I dropped my thoughts on the revisit season 2 of And Just Like That. There's also Club Kempire, which I have a lot to unpack there. I need to take some notes tomorrow in regards to some of the things that I want to talk about and address on Club Kempire. So stay tuned for that. There is a free 3-day trial available for that. All right, let's bring up Winter next. Winter, what did you want to share in regards to this Diddy Day 1 trial?
Hi, Kemp. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I was just like, oh my God, I didn't get to say happy birthday to you.
Oh.
But I just wanted to say happy birthday. But
thank you.
What my thoughts on this case is that it honestly, like, the more the reports were coming out and I was like listening and reading the blogs, it really made me cry. I was at work, like literally tearing, like just hearing these things, whether it's true or not.
Uh-oh, you went out, Winter. Did someone try to
You
call?
can hear me?
Now we can. There we go.
Oh, so I know it's all alleged and stuff, but it was just really sad. Like, I think that it always triggers the domestic violence situation that I went through a few years ago. And I just feel like I definitely can understand why people don't feel safe, like, you know, going to the NYPD and going to the cops and trying to do something about it. If I didn't feel safe with my abuser and he was just a regular person, can you imagine a high profile person like Diddy?
Exactly, Winter. I'm so glad you said that.
My phone keeps closing. Sorry.
It's okay.
That is very scary. And I definitely understand why people are like, I don't want to be on this case. Even as a juror, like I was thinking that earlier at work when they were talking about last week and people were like they were getting selected and some people were saying they didn't want it. I was like, if I would have got selected, I would have not wanted it either. Like, it's scary. Like, you really don't know who's connected and who he's tied to. Like, you just can't trust it. But honestly, I really do hope that, you know, these victims get justice. And it was just really sad. The more these stories come out and...
Oh, Winter, your phone's closed up on you again.
Yeah, I don't know why they're hating, but it really just broke my heart. And I found it so cringe that, like, his kids were there. Like, why would you want your kids to hear this about you? Like, especially the daughters. Like, and then the mom, we already know the mom is weird, but I was just like, this is what you want them to hear about you?
And honestly, I would not. We know the mom and his relationship is weird, but regardless, you want your mama to know what you're doing in the bedroom?
Like, I was just like, why are they there? Like, this is uncomfortable. But anyways, I'm tuned in. I'm gonna be following all your stories, and you know, happy birthday again. Okay.
Thank you, Winter. I appreciate it. Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye. And shout out to those of you that call in and share your personal stories. I know that's not easy, but I do understand that when people share their stories in that vulnerable way, you never know what lives you're affecting by sharing those stories. Mel's backstage. We're going to bring Mel up next. Mel, what did you want to share about this day 1 of the Diddy trial? Day 1.
I know. Hey, Kempire, how you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm good, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I hope that you enjoyed your weekend.
I did. Relaxed.
Oh, good. You know what? I was actually, until you said it, you know, because it seemed like, and no shade, actually, I've been enjoying all these different, you know, creators, but I missed you. I didn't really keep it in mind, this Diddy trial. So when I saw all black brothers and sisters out there, all of them having different perspectives about it, I said, wait, no, where Kempire? You know, I definitely thought about you. You can't be in New York City and not think about you connected to.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I was definitely missing your things. But, you know, basically, I think that, like the other callers, that the information that came out, you know, I'm not sure if anybody remembered this movie, but you might remember this movie. It was a movie, I love David Lynch. There was a movie called Blue Velvet. And it was a movie with Isabella Rossellini. She played a victim. You know, she was a woman who was under attack by the demented Dennis Hopper. That was a character that, he played the character. But in that movie, that's what it was all about. It was all about control. It was all about, you know, him. It was sadomasochistic. He couldn't really enjoy himself, shall we say, unless he was, you know, abusing the person and drug. It was just a lot. And of course, they couldn't really go into, you know, full graphic detail. But that's kind of this trial, the details are giving me that. In the picture, the woman, she can go around and live her life and all that kind of stuff, but she still was mentally under control because she didn't understand whenever that predator was going to pop up in her apartment. She just never knew. She was always in a state of shock and fear. So she can be mobile, she can get around, but mentally, her mind was always held hostage, basically. So when I hear the details, it just seems demonic to me, to be honest with you. I mean, there's no way in the world that anybody could, I think I even said on your show last year, I said it seemed like for him, he's all this alleged, who knows, whatever, because we don't know. But it seemed like a person like that, I should say, to be safe, a person like that who only can get off, who can only enjoy themselves unless somebody's crying and in total pain. That's demented. That is totally disgusting. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And to hear those details again with people witnessing it and participating, and it was a lot. So it definitely gave me it's demented. It's demented and totally demonic, in my opinion.
Yeah. There's something very demonic about Diddy. I can't lie. And covering this and doing thumbnails and looking at old pictures, I'm just like, yeah, there's something about his energy that's very off. And that's why I'm also a little concerned about Cassie testifying 8 months pregnant by someone that she's alleged all these abusive things. Like, I don't want her to be in the same proximity. I don't want him to make a certain face that might trigger her. Like, I'm just thinking about all of those things. She's very brave.
Well, that was what I want, and so again, maybe it's only, and I'm not really in a joking mood, but I was going to say only when I watch SVU, and I just was going to say that, there were times when sometimes if the people were too young, or if they were, in protection, witness or whatever, they would be able to, do it remotely, I should say, where they can get on the camera, and then, it would still be uncomfortable, but they didn't have to be there physically. I wonder why that wasn't an option, that she could just.
I wonder if the fact that it probably was an option. I can't see them denying her an option to do that. I wonder if her presence to actually show up in there 8 months pregnant is going to be helpful to influence the jury. So we have to also keep that in mind as well. That, the prosecution has their own tactics on how they want to influence the jury. So I'm wondering if that's the point, so they can see this 8 months pregnant ethereal woman come in and talk about her story. But I'm like, she's better than me. I don't know if I could do it.
I'm gonna let the other person call in. You're right about that. I was gonna say another thing that made me laugh with you is that you definitely New Yorker, just like me, because what Kempire, we know in New York City, this case is big, but New York City is always moving very fast. So I'm thinking, just like you, I'm thinking, not even if I had time off, would I go down? No, again, I'm loving the content, but I when you said it, you spoke to my heart. The case is always happening at that court all the time. Just so many different cases. No real New Yorker, and again, no shade to anybody, no real New Yorker is going to waste time because it's just nobody's staying outside a long time.
And it's going on until July 4th, and it's supposed to be raining this week. I got to worry about my hair.
Come on now. I feel you. That's why I was like, because we live here. And so, no.
But I also appreciate the people that, shout out to the journalists, but shout out to also the other content creators and the bloggers that are willing to do that. They're in their bag. Good for them. I will always cite my sources. I'm never stealing content over here. So if you got something, I'm going to share it, and I'm going to tell people where they can find it.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? You continue to have, safe night, good night, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Mel. Have a good night.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you, DM. Thank you guys all for the birthday wishes. Yes, yesterday was my birthday, but it was also Mother's Day, so it was all about the mothers yesterday, which is fine. Happy belated Mother's Day as well. But thank you all for all the birthday wishes. We're going to take a couple more callers, and then I'm going to get out of here because it is late, and I am going to try make sure that I'm resting up because I'm going to try and aim to give you at least multiple Diddy updates. I can't promise that they'll be daily, or at least 5 days a week, because that's when the call in. That's when the cases will be, the trial will be happening. Okay, Izzy's backstage. We're going to bring Izzy up next. Izzy, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire. I was really calling to wish you a happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome. I work for the federal government, so we've been going through our own trials and tribulations right now. So I'm being cautious about the, absorbing, sort of the Diddy of it all.
Yeah.
Just because there's too much negative information out there anyway.
Yeah.
But really appreciate your recaps, and also appreciate how thorough, your reporting is. So just want to express a lot of appreciation. And so, the only other thing I wanted to add is that I actually was selected for to be part of a jury. Fortunately, it wasn't a case as dark as this, but it was several years ago, and it was a drug case. And one thing that folks should really pay attention to as really the trial goes on is the instructions that they give to the jury.
Yes.
Because when you're back in that room, the judge sometimes gives you very specific instructions about what you can consider and how that information feeds into the various charges and really clearly defining, what potential outcome, may be as a result, like depending on what's presented. And so that's just something to pay attention to as things move forward.
Most definitely. And again, I'm going to remind you guys, for those that are just joining us, we're unpacking day 1 of the Diddy trial. I am going to have Stephanie St. Aubin from Allegedly Stephanie here on YouTube drop by at the end of the week, and we're going to have an attorney unpack some of this for as well. I'm going to bring some other attorneys as well, helping me cover this trial here on the channel. And what Izzy says is very important. It's not so black and white in regards to how we see it. Like, oh my gosh, we hear he did this, we hear he did that. The jury has to look at this in a very different way. Izzy, anything else before I let you go?
No, I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed your day.
I did. Thank you so much, Izzy. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye. All right, let's get to some more calls, guys. We're almost at 500 likes. Thank you to those of you that have already liked the video. Keep liking the video. And thank you so much, guys, for all the good, positive energy that you're sending me in regards to as I cover this case, along with covering some of the other things that are going on in pop culture. If you're new here and you thought I just talk about Real Housewives, welcome. We don't just talk about Housewives. We've been covering the Diddy case since even before he was arrested, when he was sued by Cassie. And anytime the Diddy was in the news, we've been covering it. So stay tuned, all right? Sidebar, speaking of the federal government, DM, thank you so much for the super chat. DM says, I forgot to say happy birthday, Kemp. Thank you for taking my call. Of course, DM, thank you so much for the super chat. The President of the United States wants to take basically a bribe from Qatar in regards to an airplane. And when he leaves the office, he would take the airplane. Oh goodness, look, 2025 is not real. Okay, right, Ace? What's going on, Ace?
It is really not real. First of all, happy birthday, Kempire.
Thank you.
I hope amongst all this negativity, you're able to have a little bit of sunshine and celebrate you.
Thank you.
The first thing I wanted to just say was I'm really curious about what other celebrities and people within the music industry are going to kind of get secondhand exposed throughout this trial.
I heard that anyone that's of a public nature, the judge, from what I recall, does not want that information shared. So I don't think that is going to be shared publicly in regards to it, unless they have volunteered to testify or something like that. But from what I recall, and I've been covering this case, and there's so much information. I do recall the judge saying that he's not going to permit any of that information to come out.
Okay, well I hope maybe behind the scenes, just trying to think positively, there'll be some actions taken against some people who were
complicit.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think, Diddy is on trial and he's done terrible things, like absolutely needs to rot. But I don't think that it's okay for other people who have allowed him to get away with it to also get off scot-free, or even participated and victimized others. So I just hope that the victims all around get their justice, and that there's a level of care. I know obviously with these trials like this, the I guess defense or whoever it is, they try to slander the victims and just like completely tear down their character. But hopefully people in the media don't scoop all that up, and people are kind, because you don't know what's the truth. They're doing their job to slander them to help Diddy, but like these are real victims here.
And this is my concern for Cassie being pregnant and being on the stand, which is probably part of the prosecution's ploy. Like, you're not going to slaughter a pregnant woman on the stand and look good to the jury.
Yeah, true.
So maybe that's their angle.
Yeah, I hope not. But a side note, I love Winter, I love Mel, I love all of the normal callers.
Yes.
So, and Anthony from Los Angeles.
Yes.
So
We got some celebs over here.
But I hope that you have a good birthday month, and thanks for doing this live.
Thanks, Ace. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye. All right, so we're gonna do some Q&A, guys, really quickly. I'm not gonna stay on here long. 5 minutes of Q&A, so 10:45, I'm going to get off of here. So quick questions for those that have questions, and if you wanna call in and ask those questions, that's fine as well. Quick questions though. Put a Q before your question, that way I'll have an idea of what, that you're asking a question. And as I do that, we're almost at 500 likes. Maybe we can get to 500 likes before I end tonight's live. I'm trying to put a limit on how long I am on live, especially on Mondays, because Mondays is a busy day. We were recapping Real Housewives of Atlanta earlier today. So I only decided last minute. I was like, let's unpack it. I do want to hear what the community has to say in regards to day one. I can't promise that I'll do a nightly live every time, but I will try and do at least some sort of recap of day one. The Diamond Channel says, question, is J-Lo approaching the stand? I don't think so. J-Lo's energy has been very different. I used to love J-Lo, but every time I've seen her out in public recently, her energy is very different lately. CM says, how are you cleansing your personal and home energy? Sage, which reminds me, I will be saging out, maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow. It's getting late now. Because, you know, I don't want to sleep with that smell, even though I have windows open and whatnot. But sage, crystals. Tonight is a full moon in Scorpio. So if there's something that you want to release, write it down on paper, rip it up, burn it, do something. But y'all know I'm always cleansing and stuff like that. When I go, it's a full moon in Scorpio, so use water to cleanse. You can take water. I don't know if you guys speak into your water. I do that. Cleanse your crystals. I got tons of crystals in this apartment. Okay, tons. Okay, tons of crystals in this apartment, big and small. But yeah. So I am doing what I need to do. So like even when I go into the shower, I'll use that. I'll speak into the water and I'll cleanse myself. I know some people won't think I'm crazy, but that's what I do, and it works for me. Okay. All right. Okay. Question. I heard he looked all the journalists and YouTubers in the eye. Do you think he will try and retaliate if they live in New York? I talked about this in not today's video, but the other video that I did on the Diddy trial a few days ago. I did report on that. One of the bloggers came out and said that he did. And I was like, see, this is why I'm glad I'm not in the court. You're not going to be looking me in the eyes, those beady eyes. I would have, well, you know, if I did go to the court, I probably would have a crystal on me. Are you specific about where you buy your crystals? I am, for the most part. So there's a couple of places that I buy crystals from, and it's on TikTok. I can't think of their names off the top of my head. One is Natural Collective. I bought a ton of crystals from them, and most recently it's another place. I think it's Creek Cabin crystals on TikTok. So I bought a ton of crystals from them. They're probably live right now on TikTok, actually. Oh no, I think it's live on Tuesday through Friday. What did you do for your birthday, Jocelyn? You weren't here earlier. When you were here earlier when I addressed that on Real Housewives of Atlanta recap. I didn't do anything. It was Mother's Day, so I really couldn't do much. Do you use your Florida water, or do you put your water outside under the moon? I do put my water outside under the moon. I do have Florida water too, though. Where is my Florida water? I think it's in there. Did you ever hear anything about Diddy personally from folks in the 2000s? I did. I keep getting stories. If you came to our who came to the Cali show? We had stories then. 2 stories. I was not ready for that. 70 says, why are you up so late? Covering Diddy? But I'm about to go to bed. Oh, L. Singleton says, when someone looks you in your eye, you have to look at them back in the eye so they won't take your power. I've seen this on TikTok where they were talking about in New Orleans, people trying to, look, let me show my elbow because I don't know if you could do it virtually, where people are elbowing you on the street and then taking your destiny. I said, I saw that for a reason. Don't be elbowing me nothing. Get away from me. Don't touch my elbows. Tanasa, you remember those Diddy stories, Tanasa? Tanasa was at the LA show. He just looks at us and says, I remember those stories. I said, this is too soon, right before Christmas. And Tanasa knows why I said that. I cannot wait for the New York show. I had to miss the last one. Only Kempire will have me out after night. I know, Alma. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. I don't know why I keep forgetting to announce this. I will be having a New York City show. Tickets are now on sale. There is a live stream option. Ticket information is available in the description of this video. If you are here in New York, come meet me in person. There will be meet and greets. There's a live stream option. This is the only show where there will be a live stream option. So get your tickets right now, okay? And the live stream option, some of you might want both. Because being in person, I don't know about you, you go to a live show, you're in person, and it's like, and then afterwards you're like, damn, what happened? So maybe, I'm not saying that maybe you can afford both. It might be worth it, okay? And some of you were regretting not getting the live stream option last time. So again, more information on the Kempire After Dark, the villain era, is happening in New York City on Friday, September 12th, okay? Else Lincoln says, I'm a Taurus with thick skin, and yes, we will have a stare down and lock eyes too. I really do look people in the eye. I don't know if I would have looked Diddy in the eye though. I would have been like that. I probably would have been like this. Like Mike from Real Housewives of Atlanta, like. Where are the co-conspirators in the Diddy case? Again, this is only day one. It's supposed to end July 4th, which is interesting. July 4th, Independence Day? Well, court shouldn't even be open, right? When are you coming back to DMV? Stay tuned, Chioma. Stay tuned. I might say something this week. Stay tuned. Girl, Let's Talk says, would you go towards the end? Maybe. I can't say that I won't show up at some point. Thank you, Not a Dumb Duck. Like the name. I'm glad you're covering the trial. I mean, I always planned to cover the trial. That was part of the reason why I did not go on vacation, was because I knew the trial was starting. Can you imagine if I was away right now? You wouldn't be getting this live right now. I would probably report on the Diddy of it all, but I wouldn't be able to do it like this. This is off topic. Did you see people are fighting in the Golden Corral? No, I didn't see that at all. Hold on. Thank you, Not a Dumb Duck. I love that name. Independence Day. This is interesting. I mean, the case might end before then, right? Maybe. We'll see. Thank you, Nikki. Miss Gabby says, what do you think Albie Shore is going to say? Well, here's the thing. Albie Shore has been subpoenaed, but he's not guaranteed to testify. I talked about that on the podcast, the weekend update that's exclusively on the podcast. Again, if you're not following me everywhere, this is what you're missing out on. So subscribe to the Kempire podcast if you haven't already. And when I say that, because some people get confused, the podcast is not YouTube. It's on like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that kind of thing. And the majority of you listen to me on Apple Podcasts. Spotify has grown too a lot. The irony is of the ending on, right, V? The irony of it ending on Independence Day. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's the only thing I hate about the summer. Now all of a sudden the bugs. I don't trust Albie Shore either. He's wishy-washy. So far, he hasn't provided any strong information or evidence, so I'm just waiting to see if he ends up testifying. So stay tuned. Do you think Albie Shore's talking against Diddy is hurting his relationship with Quincy? I can't see that it's not, especially when you see Quincy showing up to court in support of his stepfather. I can't imagine that it's not hurting their relationship in some shape or level. Can R. Kelly be in this trial? I don't believe any public figures will be named based off of what I've heard from what I've been covering with this case. I don't believe any public figures will be named besides like a Cassie. I did see that Misa Hilton was using a walker. I mean, things happen, y'all. People, break things, and that might be the reason. I don't know why Misa is using a walker. Not a question. I tried to send you a present via Amazon. It came to me, so I will have to send it out tomorrow. Thanks, Angel. It came, you did one of those things. Oh, I'm ordering and you're like, wait, it sent it to myself. Thank you so much. Was R. Kelly a part of the... I don't think we will ever know. You remember there was a lot of speculation that there's a lot of powerful people on those tapes. I think the prosecution knows who's on those tapes, but I don't believe that will come out in court. Do you think that the men jurors will be more favorable to Diddy? As soon as I heard that there were more men on this jury pool, I was like, maybe. Maybe. Did the shakedown attorney ever say anything else with her client? No. I haven't seen anything from them. Hold on, wait. Quincy's a Gemini. Notice there are no cases against him. Well, yeah, Christian's got a case. Tiff says, I think Al knows where all the bodies are buried. I'm just listening to the Al the other day. Maybe. A lot of people have been scared of Diddy for years, allegedly. They're finally getting their day. They're still scared for their life. I'm sure. And that's what I'm saying. If he gets off, I think that's going to be a scary time for a lot of people. Miss Gabby says, I'll be sure is the last one alive. Yeah. All right, y'all. On that note, I appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for over 500 likes. If you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions on day one of the Diddy trial. I will try my best to cover this as much as possible. I can't promise every single day, but you guys usually do get content from me every single day, so I will be covering a variety of different things. I did see that they announced that BravoCon tickets will go on sale on June 6th. I more than likely won't be going unless someone pays for me, like flight. Look, tickets to the show, it's very expensive. It's even more expensive than Coachella, they said. So I'm not paying that much for that. But yeah. Melvin says the billionaire might be Diddy. Kempire, be careful. No. But anyway, I'm gonna go. Wait, Corinne, did you want to share something before we go? You'll be our last thought.
Oh, I was just calling in because I've been wanting to say that we knew that Diddy was subjecting his children to questionable behavior. When months ago, Misa Hilton came out and said when after her son got that DUI charge, and she's like, "You're not going to teach my child this mess that you be doing." And ever since then, seeing his children be summarily implicated made me remember, mamas be knowing.
But
I think that this is all very long. I don't know if you remember her saying that.
I do. But why did she show up today to the court?
I think they have some weird... This needs to actually be studied, Kempire, because I don't know why she'd show up except for to be supportive for her children. Yeah. But it does kind of give... I'm kind of condoning this a little bit. But then again, and then maybe it could just be attention-seeking behavior. I don't think none of them people should have been there. This is a private matter. His mama shouldn't have probably been there. The kids definitely shouldn't have been there, and they shouldn't have been there because the context and what was talked about was so inappropriate, even though he needs support. That it just is not a good PR look, in my opinion. Yeah. I think it's going to backfire, actually. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Corin, thank you so much for calling in. Thanks for letting me talk. Have a good night, Kempire. You too. Bye. All right. On that note, thank you to our mods. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to everyone that called in and shared their story and their opinions. Thank you to everyone that asked a question and shared their thoughts and opinions here in the live chat as well. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. You will be able to hear the audio of this live recap on the Kempire podcast along with additional content. So shout out to our Club Kempire Baddies. I will be sharing content there this week, so stay tuned for that. And go check out our Real Housewives of Atlanta recap here on YouTube and on the podcast. I appreciate you all being here. Everyone have a fantastic night. When I know more in regards to the Diddy, you will know more as well. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure your notifications are on, and I will see you guys later. We have a lot to talk about in the next few weeks. Bye, y'all.